Hello and welcome to Kaiserreich, the New American Century.
We're back. We're back in the Kaiserreich
Yep.
after some time away and much demand.
Yep. I mean, here's the thing, man. We've got to come back and do this. When one of the coolest moments of the original Kaiserreich series was looking over and watching the United States having fallen to shit.
Yeah.
Like, that was a glorious good time. So we're going to take command of it. We're going to do things a little differently this Kaiserreich, though.
By the way, we are starting this new USA series on the 4th of
July.
And you will probably hear fireworks.
So freedom, motherfuckers?
Maximum thematic appropriateness right here.
Freedom, eagles, and fireworks.
Yeah.
Bratwurst, ribs.
The other thing is, historically, our two most successful series of all time have been Kaiserreich and our original Hearts of Iron 4 USA playthrough when the game came out.
So
if we combine the USA and Kaiserreich, I think we're going to hit PewDiePie numbers within 30 to 60 days.
Make that happen, guys.
Yeah,
if you could, share this around. Another thing we're going to do, though, to make this really interesting is our narrative series have been really popular, too.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to add an LSO twist to this.
Yeah.
We're not going to just be players playing a game, looking to min-max everything and looking. We're going to try to tell the most interesting story possible.
Yeah.
And rather than pre-script it, which, would be the only other way to tell the most compelling story we can, we've decided that we're going to give ourselves, sort of pseudo-softcore characters here.
Yeah.
And we're going to let their personalities and their place in this narrative drive our decision-making, so that we're telling a story with this series. And we think that'll be fun.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to sort of be two powerful senators who are kind of manipulating things behind the scenes, trying to hold the country together.
We're Frank Underwooding it.
Yeah, exactly.
Behind the scenes. We came into office kind of roundabouts the Weltkrieg.
Yeah.
And the last, 16, 17 years have been an absolute shit show, and we're not happy about it. And we're going to see if we can save the Republic. It's kind of, I think, our mission.
Definitely.
So the USA almost left their policy of isolation to intervene in the Weltkrieg, but ultimately kept out of the war, and that is something that we disagreed with.
Yes, you were, I believe, already a sitting senator at that time.
Yes.
I was in the military at the time, and we both wanted to go intervene in this war.
But we did not.
Yeah.
This led to a victory for the Central Powers. Since then, the USA has struggled economically. European trade opportunities and the repayment of their loans of the Entente have been made impossible by a German victory. Still internationally regarded as a nobody, the United States now faces mounting internal dissent as the Republican Democratic hegemony is challenged by two groups, the Syndicalists and the American First Union. With a mounting crisis at home and only a modest reputation overseas, things aren't looking good for the United States of America. No, they're not.
They are not.
We have the Great Depression.
In the throes of the Great Depression.
The stock market crashed in 1925 and just threw us into the Great Depression. So in addition to the massive economic woes plaguing America from this never-ending crisis, the Great Depression has given energy to both Long and Reed, the leaders of the Syndicalists and the America First Union, as they campaign against one another and the establishment, which is the federal government.
Yeah. Minus 15 production efficiency, factory output, and construction speed, and takes away 40% of our consumer goods factory.
So this hurts, and one of our objectives early is going to be to do our best to end the Great Depression.
Yes, definitely.
And we're in a political crisis. So the U.S. is in crisis. The Great Depression has been going on for over a decade. It still hasn't let up, which that means our people are not happy, to say the least. This has allowed the far left Combined Syndicates of America and the far right America First Party to gain strength in recent years as alternatives to solve the crisis. Basically, the extremists have gained a lot of power and a lot of popularity and are railing to either create a radical socialist uber-communist society to fix the problem or go headlong down fascism to fix the economy, racial fascism.
Yeah.
Not good. Others look towards MacArthur and the army as a way to solve radicalization and crisis. dissolve democracy altogether. Everyone is afraid of a coming civil war should things not let up and be resolved, or one of the more radical choices wins the upcoming 1936 elections. So
yeah, we're not in great shape here.
Our modifiers are...
Oh, those are just focus trees.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right on. So
yeah, we've got all our modifiers.
Here we go. The United States of America in this darker alternate reality.
Yeah.
And as the powers behind the scenes, kind of, I envision we're two of the more powerful politicians in the country.
Yeah.
Our problems begin now. Now.
Whoop. And I just unplugged my headphones, so I cannot hear the game. Technical difficulties. All right, we're back.
So here we are.
Yeah.
The country is still intact, but oh my goodness, minus 318 political power.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Let's see. We've got low stability, or very low stability. Low popularity, civilian economy, free trade, volunteer only.
That's not good.
Charles Curtis is our vice president. We've got Henry L. Stimson, our foreign minister. Roy Chapin, our economy minister, and Frank Murphy in the security minister spot. And
we cannot take a national focus to simulate how polarized and paralyzed the country is. We can't get enough people on the same page to pursue an agenda as a nation, is what I'm imagining that symbolizes. Basically. The good news mechanically is our horrible political power situation is slightly alleviated by not having a national focus.
So we've got 4 tech slots. I think superior firepower
that's
usually
very
makes
American.
the most sense for the U.S.
It got us through the Civil War.
Especially since our current army consists of a single garrison division in the Panama Canal and these guys.
Yep. So first things first. I mean, you're the chairman of the Armed Forces Committee, of the Military Committee.
Yeah, whatever the 1936 equivalent was back when Army and Navy were separate.
You see the brewing crisis, and you know that we've got to consolidate our armed forces, give them a leader, like clarify the chain of command. And I'm thinking you're probably pushing behind the scenes to grow the army.
Yes.
Like, things are not good, and we need a bigger army. We need more boys with guns loyal to the federal government.
So we have 3 choices for level 4 field marshals. George Marshall would give us more max planning. Bradley would give us planning speed. Eisenhower gives us supply consumption. I think actually Bradley might be the best choice here.
Omar Bradley, currently the highest ranking 4-star general in the United States Army.
So we're gonna have these are gonna be pretty significant units here. We've got the Big Red 1, which is actually based out of Kansas, and since I'm a senator from Kansas, I'm gonna say this is the unit I served with before I was a senator.
Awesome.
We've got the 3rd, the Rock of the Roanoke, the 2nd Indian Head, and then the 1st Cavalry. I think we need to bring all these guys to Washington and just garrison.
I think we need to give. Yep. I mean, here's how I'm envisioning.
War is coming.
Yeah, here's how I'm
train
these
them
are
up a little bit.
Yeah, these are dark times. We need to grow the military, and we need to reassert the military. You will find and when we're meeting over our daily lunch in the Capitol building cafeteria, you find no disagreement from me on that plan. And in the meantime, I am on the Foreign Affairs Committee.
Okay.
And I am looking at our disastrous situation abroad and just really feeling the pressure. I do not trust the Dominion of Canada.
Yeah.
Remember, the Entente and the United States never became official allies in this timeline. And I'd imagine they are still more than slightly bitter that we never came to their aid. So we are in a world, I believe, where we have more enemies abroad than friends.
Yeah.
And that's not good. That's not really tenable.
That is definitely not good. It's also not good that we don't have any chromium nor any rubber to make.
And we don't have the civilian factories to.
Let's see. Do we want to be? We should probably be building some planes.
Close air support's probably a good idea.
CAS and interwar fighters. Let me scale this back a little bit because we're not really building any guns. All right, or we're not really building any units that need guns as of yet. So
well, we're not at a horrible deficit in equipment, I don't believe.
No. Eventually we'll want some carrier variants, but
Yep, here it goes.
Okay, so we actually have a shitload of naval dockyards.
Which is true. The United States
Yeah.
Navy, remember, they had to beat the Spanish in the Spanish-American War late in the century. The American Navy might not be modern, but it is not insignificant. We actually have one of the better fleets in the world at this point. And the capacity to grow it. So I'd imagine you're working very hard with your close colleagues in the Naval Committee.
Yes.
Realizing it's like, hey, our fleet is the one thing.
We really need carriers yet.
Our fleet's really the one thing you could call a strength. We need to make sure that it's getting modernized and enlarged.
We will we'll produce as many ships as we reasonably can with the dockyards available to us, starting with smaller ones that are going to build faster, and then we'll churn out some larger ones as things permit.
Yep. Oh man,
jeez, this depression.
It's killing us. Can we trade?
Can we even trade for chromium? South Africa's exporting chromium. We
Nope.
don't have any factories to trade with.
Good lord. All right, well.
We have an unassigned division.
It's our Panama Canal garrison.
Put him under George Marshall.
George Marshall.
He can go
It's
hang
not
out
a
in Panama.
popular guy in Washington,
No,
is what that
apparently
means.
not, yeah.
I think he probably
Yeah.
said something he shouldn't have said to Hoover, maybe,
Yeah.
and is now in charge of 5,000 dudes
see.
in Panama.
We currently have no template for support equipment or motorized, but we will need them eventually, so it's good to start stockpiling, especially since we don't really have a logistics deficit right now since our army's so small. So let's start the clock running.
Yep. All right.
Thank you, Kaiser
Reich team. Thank you indeed.
Yeah,
Great
great job.
New events. Do we want to know?
We already know. Yeah, this is just a tutorial for.
All right.
Yeah. So cool.
Okay.
America in 1936.
The U.S. stands in crisis. The U.S. was able to escape in the First Weltkrieg, which allowed the prosperity that we were experiencing at that time to continue well into the 1920s. So our roaring 20s actually began a little early.
Yeah.
However, the German victory and the French and later the British revolutions would lead to a Wall Street crash in 25. This sent us into the Great Depression early and allowed the Berlin stock market to take the place of the New York Stock Exchange as the economic center of the world. The election of Herbert Hoover in 26 showed promise of fixing America, or 28, I think.
Yeah.
Showed the promise of fixing America. However, Hoover was unable to fix the problems of the Depression. This has fueled the rise of radical parties in America, from the combined syndicates of the far left to the American First Party of the far right. The fact that Hoover won re-election by the House of Representatives, so that means that was as close as an election got in 32. And the fact that the Great Depression isn't over means that the problems do not look to be going away anytime soon. Many throughout the country fear that disaster will happen should one of the extreme parties come into power, or nothing is done to solve the Depression. Plus 25 political power, my God, do we need it?
Yeah. Let's see.
I would start fortifying the Midwest,
let's start building some factories in
our
Kansas.
home.
Yeah,
we are
or
senators from Colorado and Kansas, so let's say this is the pork barrel.
Yeah, let's
DM and TJ sent some pork home to their home states.
We are porking it up. We are the movie Porkies on DVD.
We sent some pork back to the home states.
Let's see what kind of shape our divisions are in, by the way. We don't have any army divisions yet. Let's see. Not too
terrible,
bad on
but
infantry.
not good.
Cavalry division. We could actually work with this, I think.
I think so.
Yeah. It'll be nice to have that one quicker unit that we can send to try to exploit gaps. These are going to be our boys right here. These are going to be our bread and butter.
And we're trying our best. They're very close to being trained up to regulars. Yeah. We're going to get them up to regular.
Yeah.
Because these are going to be our boys. Should we be training a unit right now, maybe?
Oh, yeah, we should actually be training some infantry.
Yep.
Maybe some cavalry, too.
Train them in Maryland and Washington.
Let's see. So let's do Maryland. You can actually train them
both in Maryland.
Here, yeah.
So all right, awesome.
Send them to...
Yeah.
Wait, I always do this wrong. Okay.
Right click.
And then right click. Is that correct? There we go.
Yep. All right. And now that'll probably send us into a guns deficit. So let's make sure that we are producing enough.
And the That's my alarm. I apologize.
Oh, Black Monday.
Monday.
On the 3rd February of 1936, the Berlin Stock Exchange stopped sinking and plunged. Fueled by the instability of the market panic, selling erupted as soon as the stock market opened on Monday morning. It took well into the night for the teleprinters to stop sputtering out the results of what became known as Black Monday. When the results had been analyzed, it was clear that the situation had only gotten worse. This shock of the unprecedented economic catastrophe will, no doubt, be felt all over the entire world. The German Golden Age has ended, for now at least. Mein Gott.
Well,
Dang.
I think that leaves some room for an American Golden Age.
It does. The Empire of Afghanistan and the Dominion of India are at war.
All right.
As the chair of foreign affairs, I'm nominally interested in that. Black Monday hits America.
Yeah.
This is just not our year.
Oh.
Despite the political turmoil going on throughout the country, it looks like the economy of the United States might finally have been recovering after the Wall Street crash. Today, the Berlin crash finally hit our shores and sent our economy into a tailspin yet again. Reed and Long, of course, have come out railing against our corrupt government who let the crash happen, and Curtis and Garner have both pledged to fix the economy. That's our ticket gearing up for the election. That's our vice president and his candidate for vice president. They have both pledged to fix the economy should they win. Our Great Depression just got worse.
I don't think, do we even have any usable we have 0 usable factories right now.
With which to build our new factories. Good Lord.
We still have some military factories.
Okay, Curtis recovered after his heart attack.
Okay.
So the presumptive nominee of the Republican Party, our party, to succeed Hoover, suffered a heart attack earlier in the morning. He's okay, though. So that's awesome, but we still take a political power hit because our candidate
the first president of Native American ancestry, so that's cool. But
it still sucks that our candidate for president had a heart attack. World premiere of Modern Times. So Charlie Chaplin's classic Modern Times premiered. It created some controversy as possibly being anti-Fordist and pro-syndicalist. It looks like. After a few days, the federal government censored it as it was judged too provocative. That was probably a mistake as the -20 political power. Had we been asked, we would have advised not to censor that movie.
Okay, this is where shit's really starting to go down. In Detroit, Michigan, the automotive capital of the world, Walter Reuther and Richard Frankenstein, leaders of the United Auto Workers Association, called a general strike against the Ford Motor Company and proclaimed themselves for unionism, not Fordism, demanding higher pay and less hours for automotive workers. 2 p.m. today, a photographer from the Detroit Free Press asked to take a photo of the leaders of the UAW standing on the overpass with the Ford sign in the background. While they were posing, a group of 40 men from the Ford service department approached them from behind and began to beat on them with their batons. We have violence in the streets, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
The group then continued their attack on some of the beret-wearing women present to pass out leaflets.
This hurts us more than it hurts the unionists. It sure damn does.
Yeah.
Look at our political power situation. What a disaster.
We are on the brink of actual disaster.
Yes, I mean, that is... But thankfully, no national focus. We have the capacity to bounce back. And we get
getting some profits
plus
from
5%
cities.
Plus 5% factory output.
Yeah.
Can you think of anything we need more?
We could definitely use any factory output we can possibly get.
And we're about to finally get into the negative 200s.
Yeah.
So that piece of good news was the most needed salve ever.
Oh yeah.
I'm imagining we put together a press release for the front page of the Times. Like, hey guys, we're getting some profits from the location cities.
So we have 4 fully trained divisions now. 100th anniversary of the Battle of the Alamo. We'll take the
another press release. I'm imagining Hoover gave a speech in the Rose Garden.
Yeah.
Like, we are doing everything we can to try to turn the mood in the country.
Absolutely everything we possibly can.
Our political power situation is no longer on the verge of disaster, though.
Okay, so Charles Coughlin's CBS radio broadcasts. 3 years... I guess it means 3 years ago from today, Coughlin started doing weekly radio broadcasts. He's a raving anti-Semite.
More than 50 million people tuning into this broadcast. Yikes.
Claiming the syndicalist revolution in France was fomented by the Jew. Not the Jews, just the singular Jew. There was one Jewish guy, and he was responsible for all of it.
He's a rebellion fomenter.
And the Berlin stock market crash was an international conspiracy of Jewish bankers And I love the editorialization here. And somehow people still tune in. His hate speech will not be tolerated by the church, and the Pope is expected to make a decision whether to ask the United States government to shut down his broadcast so his hateful message can't reach the public.
I think we got to shut him down.
Yeah,
Here's the thing. I'd
say we have to shut this
as
dude
foreign
down.
affairs too. I'm like, man, we have no allies abroad.
Well,
if this makes the Italian Federation feel any better about us,
and we know Reed is dangerous. The Socialist Republic of Italy is a natural enemy of the papacy right now, so.
And they already like us a little bit.
Let's try to get some friends in Europe.
I dare say the Italian Federation might be considering allying with us now that we've done that.
That would be nice.
I think their opinion of us is now plus 50. So
well, especially if Reed's going to start fomenting insurrection in the Northeast at all, there's lots of Catholics there, and if we're in good with the Pope,
that helps.
That's all the better for us.
That helps.
By the way, I am going to move all of our planes to somewhere
not near
less near to insurrectionist forces.
I completely agree.
Full disclosure, I have played a little bit of the U.S. in this mod.
This is also just natural.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
All right, St. Patrick's Day flood. So on March 16th, warmer than usual temperatures led to the melting of large amounts of snow and ice in the upper Allegheny and Monongahela rivers. Good Lord.
It's the ones up here.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
The rivers and their tributaries had already been over their banks and were now threatening the city of Pittsburgh. Damn. On March 17th, the waters reached the flood stage of 25 feet. And, oh man, heavy rain overnight. So then when it rains, it literally pours.
Yeah.
Heavy rain after this starts happening raises them even higher. They're about 46 feet over their flood stage. So Pittsburgh is in jeopardy. We must help the people.
Oh, yeah. Why would you pick minus 40 political power over plus 20?
We must help the people.
I think that's just a flavor of it.
Yeah, we must help the people. My God, our political power situation.
Yeah.
Jesus.